So in the serial communication, there are mainly two parts. There are two pins reserved for the serial communication purpose in 8051 microcontroller chip. So one is for transmitting of the data. So through one pin, we can able to transmit the data serially, and through another pin. So that is TXD. TXD is the pin to transmit the data. RXD is the pin to receive the data. So how we can transmit, what are the things involved in the serial communication, how speed we are transmitting as well as receiving. So those things we'll discuss in today's class. So I will share my presentation. One minute, it is not. Is it visible? ఇది కనిపిస్తుందా బాబు?
PDF ఓపెన్ కాలేదు సార్, ఫోల్డర్స్ మాత్రమే వచ్చేస్తాయి. లైక్
ఫైల్ కనబడట్లేదా?
ఓపెన్ కాలేదు సార్, జస్ట్ టైల్స్ వచ్చినాయి అంతే.
అవునా, నాకు ఓపెన్ అయింది మరి. సో సీరియల్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ ఇన్ 8051 మైక్రో కంట్రోలర్స్ అని ఓపెన్ అయింది. ఒకసారి అవ్వలేదా? మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చేయనా?
అవ్వలేదు సార్, జస్ట్ లిస్ట్ వచ్చింది సార్, PDF ఫైల్స్ మీ దగ్గర ఉన్నాయి.
ఓకే సరే, స్టాప్ చేసి మళ్ళీ షేర్ చేస్తాను. ఇప్పుడు కనబడుతుందా? ఇస్ ఇట్ విజిబుల్?
ఓకే సార్, కనబడుతుంది సార్.
Okay. So the serial communication. So long back, I have presented at one of my refresher course. So it is one of the useful communication system. So here it is the why we want the serial communication. What is the need of the serial communication? So that is one important aspect. So therefore, first we know what is the need, what is the problems involved in the parallel communication. Because parallel communication means the 8-bit data, to communicate each and every bit, we need a separate wire. There are some flat cables are available in the laboratory for 1 meter distance or 2 meter distance. We can able to communicate in this format parallel data, because each and every bit we need one line. So one complete line is required to communicate 8 bits at a time, means 8 parallel lines are required. Through the wire, the data can be communicating. For the longer distance communication, this type of parallel communication, it is very difficult. For hundreds or thousands of kilometers, we want to communicate the data. It is very difficult. So therefore, we have to communicate all the data through a single wire. All the data through a single wire, because of the cost, reduction of the cost, and also the chance of elimination of the errors. So these are the things involved. So therefore, you can read some of the points here. What is the need of serial communication in microprocessor or microcontroller? So normally when the microprocessor communicates or microcontroller communicates with the outside world, it provides the data in bite-sized chunks. So always we are communicating. Computer means in terms of bytes only. The byte is nothing but it's a 8-bit of data. So each and every bit we have to communicate. So therefore the byte, the complete transformation of the byte. So how we can separate the byte by byte, byte by byte. So that is bit by bit. So here all 8 bits can be communicated serially. After that, we can separate with some of the words, some stop and start bits. Stop and start bits that they are enclosed to your data. Okay, so therefore to isolate the data, we need some gap between data and byte and byte. We need some gap. Therefore, that byte, what is the starting of the byte and what is the ending of the byte. So those things we have to identify. Okay. So here normally the computers will use the bite-sized chunks. So this is the general methodology. And parallel data communication works only if the cable is not too long. Cable is not too long, since long cables diminish and even distort signals. These are the two major problems. For the longer distances, maybe the interference of the information, parallelly communicating one data bit and its neighboring bit, there is chance of interact with each other in the form of signals, because signals always try to interfere. So there is a chance of the distortion. So therefore, so that we'll get the errors. So long cables diminish and even distort signals, because there are many number of foldings, many number of bendings, so etc. For those situations, there is a chance of damaging of the actual information. Furthermore, an 8-bit data path is expensive. So this is very money related matter, because 8-bit data path is very expensive. So for these reasons, serial communication is used for transferring data between two systems. Now, another this thing is, in serial communication, a single line is used instead of the 8-bit data lines of parallel communication. Makes it not only much cheaper, but also makes it possible for two computers located in two different cities to communicate over the telephone. So this is the general advantage for the longer communication, maybe from Hyderabad to Mumbai, or some Hyderabad to Warangal, etc. For longer distance communications, we must choose this type of communication. So sender, a single path, and receiver. So through single path, how the data bits are communicating, how the parallel data can be converting into serial. So there are various types of shift registering. Shift registers are there in your 5th semester. So that is serial in, parallel out, serial in, serial out, parallel in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out. Like that, there are various types of shift registers are there. So by using those concepts, here the parallel data you can converting into serial format. The serial data is communicated through the wires. At the receiving end, we can again communicating the serial in enter data can be converting into parallel. So that is at the sender. So at the sender, what is going on here? The parallel data can be converting into serial format. So through this path, it is transmitted to the receiver end. And here the antenna will receive the signal. The received signal is in the serial format. The serial data can be converting into its parallel equivalent. This is the general block diagram of the serial communication. Here it is the parallel communication. If it is a parallel, means for each and every bit, we need a separate path. So this path, this is for bit D0, D1, D2, D3, up to D7. So for all 8 bits, parallelly. So there are some flat cables are available. This is comfort only for very short, maybe less than 5 meter distance it is suitable. But if it is above some meters means definitely you can choose this type of communication. Okay. Now coming to the some of the basics are concerned. Some basics are concerned. For serial data communication to work, the byte of data must be converted to serial bits using a parallel in serial out. Parallel in serial out. This I just now I mentioned. Parallel in parallel data can be converting into serial out format. So that is parallel in serial out shift register. Then it can be transmitted over a single data line. This also means that at the receiving end, there must be a serial in parallel out. Serial in parallel out at the receiving end. So serial in parallel out shift register to receive the serial data and pack them into a byte. So this is like a modem in telephones. So this can be converting into this for the modulation and demodulation process. Now here in the serial communication also there are two different methods we have, that is asynchronous serial communication and synchronous serial communication. So in the asynchronous, so asynchronous means all the datas can be communicated, bytes can be byte by byte or all bytes at a time. So like that. So synchronous or asynchronous methods. So these are also two methods, but in our 8051 microcontroller, there is one IC available. One IC available that can be converting both the whether it is in asynchronous mode or synchronous mode, that can be converting into its suitable required. So that is generally called as the this USART. So this para which gives the details of that is universal synchronous asynchronous receiver transmitter. This type of chips are available. So this type of chip you can inserted in our IC kit, so that we can able to communicate serially. So therefore there are special IC chips made by many manufacturers for serial data communications. These chips are commonly referred to as UART, that is universal asynchronous receiver transmitter. Universal asynchronous receiver transmitter. And another one is USART, that is universal synchronous asynchronous receiver transmitter. So for 8051 microcontroller is concerned, this is inbuilt UART is available, that is UART, that is universal asynchronous receiver transmitter, not synchronous. Asynchronous receiver transmitter is available in our 8051 microcontroller chip. So here there are various methods in the serial communication. That methods you can see whether it is a one direction communication or half duplex. Simplex means like a computer to printer. Only the transmitter will give the commands. Like it is like a boss. Boss is always order the order the servant. So transmitter is like a boss and receiver is a servant. So in the simplex process, only the commands are coming from the transmitter. He is receiving the orders only. It's like a printer. This is computer. Computer will never give the command to the printer never give the commands to the computer. It's a simplex method, but at a time one side communication. So transmitter, so you can transmit to at one side. So if this is communicating, another path receiving is not possible. Suppose this is communicating, so therefore at a time one side communication, whether we can communicate the data or we can receive the data. Communicate or receive, transmit or receive. So one side communication, maybe the maintain the secrecy, like a pager device we have seen in the paper 6. So for in the pagers, this is half duplex communication we can use. So at a time, one side communication. If he stops, then only he can send the information from this. So generally military people are using this type of systems. So that is a half duplex communication. Whereas in the full duplex communication, we can able to transmit or receive. This is like our smartphones. So nowadays, all our mobile phones we can use. We can able to speak at a time, and we can able to receive the data at a time. So speak parallelly, we can receive. So this is like a full duplex communication. So all these are various techniques used in the techniques. So in data transmission, if the data can be transmitted and received, it is a duplex transmission. This is contrast to simplex transmission, such as with printers, in which the computer only sends data. This is the simplex process. The duplex is concerned. Duplex transmissions can be half or full duplex, depending on whether or not the data transfer can be simultaneous. If data is transmitted one way at a time, it is referred to as half duplex. This is the full duplex. So if data can go both ways at the same time, it is full duplex. Full duplex requires two wire conductors for the data lines, one for transmission and one for reception, in order to transfer and receive data simultaneously. So this is about the full duplex communication. Now, how will frame the data? If you are communicating a 8-bit data serially, we can separate the bits, 8 bits. So this is a data. So data, after data, we need some gaps. So that gaps can be filled with start and stop bits. So which is appearing like this. So this is your 8-bit data. In the 8-bit data, some mark, this is the starting of your data. So this mark indicates immediately the immediate entering data is a start bit. This is not considered as a data. Then followed by 8 bits. These 8 bits are called data. After transmitting these 8 bits, after transmitting all these 8 bits, then the final bit, that is stop bit. So one data completely transmitted through the system. So therefore, we can end the process. So mark, this is like a alert symbol, data is coming. Then the first bit is the start bit, followed by 8 bits. So after this, there is one bit called the stop bit. After this, we need some space to allow the next data, some space like zeros or something. So you can give some zeros, maybe 8 zeros based on the various coding techniques. Those codes you can give here to identify, to allow the next data. So like this type of framing is required. So the data coming in at the receiving end of the data line in a serial data transfer. So it is all either zeros or ones. So which zeros or which ones are the data? That is the actual data we want to communicate. But we have to identify which bits are belong to. So if you are continuously communicating the data bits serially, for all the number of bytes we can able to communicate. First byte, second byte, third byte, hundreds of bytes we have to communicate in the serial. Which bits belong to data? So that is the major problem. So that can be eliminated by this type of method. So it is difficult to make sense of the data unless the sender and receiver agree on a set of rules that is called protocol. So how speed the sender is transmitting, the same speed the receiver can able to catch. So that is generally, that is the some of the rules and regulations both the people should follow. For example, you people are belong to some Kerala or something. If I am speaking in Telugu because of the language problem. The people may not able to understand because they know the only Malayalam. So we have to speak in their language only. So therefore, that is the problem. That is, if you are communicating in different methodology, it is the waste of communication. So both the people can understand the rules and regulations, they obey some protocol. So they agree on a set of rules called protocol on how the data to packed, how many bits constitute character, and when the data begins and when it ends. So these things both the people must know. That is the transmitter as well as the sender. So for this purpose, the framing of the data is appearing like this. That is start and stop bits. Asynchronous serial data communication, that is asynchronous because we are using UART. That is the chip available in 8051 microcontroller. So therefore, asynchronous serial data communication is widely used for character-oriented transmission, while block-oriented data transfer use the synchronous method. So this is the difference. So here it is asynchronous communication for character-oriented transmission. So synchronous method means block-oriented data transfer. Block-oriented is in the synchronous, character-oriented is in the asynchronous. That you have to remember. So in the synchronous method, each character is placed in between a start and stop bits. This is calling framing. So this type of framing. So in data framing, for asynchronous communications, the data such as ASCII characters, like any character can be written in a byte format. ASCII characters are packed in between a start bit and a stop bit. So this like this. This is a stop bit. Here it is a stop bit. So the start bit is always 1 bit, but the stop bit can be 1 or 2 bits. The start bit is always a 0, that is low, and the stop bit is high, 1. So 0, it is starting of the bit, then ending must be on bit. So that is high bit. So in the middle, whatever the bits you have, that bits you have to communicate. So another technology, another word used in the serial communication is how speed the data bits are transferring. Whether they are transferring some 1000 bits per second or 10,000 bits per second, how speed the data bits are transmitting. But here also, how speed the sender is transmitting the data bits, the receiver can able to receive that much of speed. So then only it is called as an effective communication. Otherwise, it is not called as an effective communication. So therefore, the speed matching is required. So the data rate, the rate of data transfer in serial data communication, rate of data transfer in serial data communication is stated in BPS, that is bits per second. It is stated as bits per second. Oh, we have only 10 minutes time left. So this is called bits per second, or sometimes it is called as the baud rate, baud, BAUD, baud rate. So therefore, the widely used terminology for BPS is baud rate. So it is a generally modern terminology, baud rate, and is defined as the number of signal changes per second. Number of signal changes per second. Now, so it is the speed. The speed can be depending on which type of microcontroller or which type of system you are using. So the data transfer rate of a given computer system. So given computer system depends on communication ports incorporated into that system. Okay. So to allow data transfer between the personal computer and 8051 system, PC and 8051 system, without any error, we must make sure that the baud rate of the 8051 system matches the baud rate of the PC's communication port. So microcontroller speed and personal computer speed both must be matches. Otherwise, it is difficult. So the speeds also I'll give you. So these are the speeds. So that is the baud rate supported by 486. The baud rate supported by 486 or Pentium IBM PC BIOS. So these systems, they support the bits per second. So either 110 bits per second, 150, 300 bits per second, 600 bits, 1200 bits, 2400, 4800, 9600, and 19,200 bits per second. So 19,200, it is also the allowed speed. But as far as our 8051 microcontroller is concerned, these four rates, that is 1200, 2400, 4800, 9600. So to select the speed, there is one of the register we have to use. That is a timer register you have to use. The timer register should be loaded with some of the data based on which data we have loaded in that register. Based on that, it will communicate with that much of speed, whether it is a 1200 bits per second speed or 2400 bits per second, 4800 bits per second, or 9600. These four rates. So how we can choose that value, particular value, that also we'll discuss. Then there are certain IC standards for, that is RS-232 standards. So which is connected like this, whether it is TXD pin or RXD, port 3. Generally, this port 3 is called as a control port. There are 4 different ports are available in 8051 microcontroller. Port 0, port 1, port 2, and port 3. That port 3, it is used for the dual purpose. So that is the same pins are used for communicating the control word, or each and every pin of that particular port is used for some of the other purpose, in which port 3, 3.1 and 3.0, port 3, P3.0 and P3.1. Other pins, that is P3.2, P3.3, P3.4, that is up to 3.7. Other pins are used for some of the other purposes. Already we have discussed about the pin diagram of 8051. You go through pin diagram. There 2 pins are reserved for transmitting of the data, TXD. Through this line, we can communicate the data transmit the data in serial mode. This pin, that is P3.0, through this pin, we can receive the data in serial mode. And the voltage levels, sufficient voltage levels, can be provided by RS-232 or MAX-232, it is called. So that is called as which is available in this format. So in the communication, whether it is receiving purpose or transmitting purpose. So there are some some of the buffers are available. They should amplify your signal in the required level. So suppose the outside world, some voltage required. Through coming data is some 2 volts or some millivolts. That is not sufficient to identify at the outside. So therefore, that much of levels. So these are the buffer amplifiers. They will amplify the signal, and so that we can able to identify the proper signal. These are these 2 diagrams for the RS-232. So here you can discuss about few words about RS-232. So this cable is required to interface any of the additional device to your computer. This RS-232 chip is required. So this RS-232 is the most widely used serial input-output interfacing standard. The standard is used in personal computers and numerous types of equipment. However, since the standard was set long before the advent of the TTL logic family, its input and output voltage levels are not TTL compatible. So input and output levels are not TTL compatible. So therefore, in the RS-232, a 1 is represented by -3 to -25 volts, while 0 bit is represented with +3 volts to 25 volts. It's amplified voltages. So making -3 to +3 undefined. So for this reason, to connect any RS-232 a microcomputer system, we must use voltage converter such as MAX-232. So this type of MAX-232 can connect to convert the TTL logic levels to the RS-232 voltage levels and vice versa. This type of configuration is required. So MAX-232 is required. This side is RS-232. This side is TTL side. So that is transistor logic. Now, the communicate a data serially or to receiving the data. So there is a separate register used for to transmit the data as well as the received data. For transformation, the data should be in the some register that is called as a serial buffer register. SBUF it is called as SBUF. S stands for serial. So serial buffer register is exclusively used for the serial communication in the 8051. And another register is SCON, that is called serial control register. Serial buffer register, serial control register. So they are separate registers. So serial buffer, the role of serial buffer register means the data must be in the serial buffer register. So the serial buffer register is an 8-bit register used solely for serial communication in the 8051. For a byte of data to be transferred via the TXD line, it must be placed in the serial. Whatever the data you want to communicate, that data must be transferred to the serial buffer first. Similarly, the serial buffer holds the byte of data when it is received by the 8051's RxD line. So it is when it is received, the data will be stored in the serial buffer. So the serial buffer can be accessed like any other register in the format like this. For example, if you want to load some character, move SBUF, hash some character. So that is ASCII character for D is 44H. So your S buffer is loaded like this. Move SBUF, hash D. The next one. So to transfer A to S buffer, because your data is in some port.